Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a wonderful box of the complete keyboard works of William Byrd, played by the fantastic Dutch harpsichordist Pieter-Jan Belder, who did the complete Scarlatti sonatas and much else. He is the professor of Baroque performance at the Musikhochschule in Lübeck. Presumably, he was able to get that post without having to marry Buxtehude's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter or something like that. Anyway, he's a splendid keyboard artist. And, there aren't that many recordings of Byrd's complete keyboard music. The only other one, actually, is David Moroni on Hyperion, which is long out of print. It was a wonderful, wonderful set, a beautiful set. I have it down in the overflow room. And then there are other specific bits, like I think I have right here. Yes, I do. It's right here. My Lady Neville's book with Christopher Hogwood on L'Oiseleur. I got this when it first came out on LPs. 3 hours, phenomenally wonderful keyboard music. Byrd was tremendous. His years were 1543 to 1623. So he had a long and fulfilling life at a time where things were like going nuts. Henry VIII was king when he was born. He was around for all of Queen Elizabeth, and it was, the religious wars were going on, Mary, Queen of Scots, and Byrd was a recusant. He was a recusant. He recused himself from the Church of England. He was a Catholic. But such was his talent. Thomas Tallis was one too, apparently. But such was his talent that he was given a special dispensation by Elizabeth and by James I. So he managed to get away with it as long as he sort of kept it to himself. His most famous works for most of us will be the three masses, the mass in 3 parts, 4 parts, and 5 parts. Catholic masses, which were meant to be performed in private chapels by other recusants who expressed their recusancy on the down low, basically. But he wrote a tremendous amount of keyboard music. Aside from My Lady Neville's book, which, like I said, is 3 hours of stuff, of short keyboard works, there are a total of 9 discs in this set. So, I wonder if they give you a total timing. No, they don't. But it's like, figure an hour a disc. It's a major legacy, a very, very major legacy. A lot of this stuff appeared in the Fitzwilliam Virginal book, which Pieter-Jan Belder has also recorded, and which we will talk about in a future video. I have it sitting right here. There it is. So we can talk about that later. Because, like I said, I've just been binging on this early keyboard stuff. Glenn Gould recorded some of this music, very little bit, but selected, and it's wonderful music. It's tuneful. It lacks a certain degree of contrast. It really does. Because there wasn't, the forms of keyboard music were essentially adaptations of dances or vocal pieces, often religious pieces, in nomines and voluntaries and things like that, and they had Latin titles. But a lot of it was humorous too. And they were variations on folkish type themes and ground bass hoogies, and that's what they were. You can't expect reams of contrast as you get in, for example, Chopin's Preludes or something like that. It's not that kind of music, but it's enormously appealing. There's something very fresh and direct about it that when I'm in the right mood, I just can't get enough of it. And some of the pieces here are just, they're so much fun. You can just look at the titles and you get a sense of them. Like just on the first disc here, you've got, let's see, the Queen's Alamon, and If My Complaints. Some of them are song transcriptions and things, but we got The Bells. Well, that we know what that means, right? And Robin Hood. Robin Hood is on here. William Byrd probably knew him personally. Actually, that's not true. That was 300 years later, but still 300 and some odd years later. But Robin Hood is on here. Or if we go to my Lady Neville's book, which has some of his most popular works. You get one of the great musical battles. Yes, there's the march before the battle, and then there's the battle itself, which is a 12-minute long multi-sectional piece. You've got the soldier's summons, the march of the footmen, the march of the horsemen, the trumpets, the Irish march, the bagpipe and the drone, the flute and the drone, and the droom, pardon me, the march to the fight, the retreat, all of that stuff. Yes, if you like Bieber's Battaglia, which came quite a bit later, here's an even earlier version of such a thing. So that's kind of fun. And you also have, in my Lady Neville's book, you have Sellinger's Round, which is a tune that was used for variations by lots of English composers. There's Tippett's Divertimento on Sellinger's Round. I mean, it's a really popular theme. When you hear it, you may actually know it. And you've got, let's see, what have we got here? The 10th Pavane by Mr. Peter, somebody, whatever, whoever. And A Voluntary, and Hugh Ashdown's Ground, and Lord Willoughby's Welcome Home, all in a garden grine. Have with Yow to Walsingham. I mean, some of these things are, they don't mean anything to most of us. But you may well be familiar with some of the tunes because they're enchanting melodies and beautifully arranged. And this is just a lovely, lovely 9 CD set with a very good booklet with extensive notes, really extensive notes that it really, they get you through it. I mean, they explain the music and the performance and the issues with notation and things like that. And Pieter-Jan Belder here plays a whole passel of harpsichords and another slew of virginals. A virginal is just a portable harpsichord. It's a harpsichord. You could basically put it on a table. It didn't have legs most of the time, and it was strung, this way instead of that way, and an organ. You even have an organ thrown in here. So there's a wonderful range of instruments with different and variously enticing timbres, and it's music to dip into. You get a big box of it, and then you just discover it at your leisure. Every so often, take it out, play a bit of it. When you're sick of it, take it off, and come back to it later. It's wonderfully captivating when you're in the right mood, and sometimes I am. So I'm awfully glad to have it. It's on Brilliant Classics, by the way. If I didn't already say that, I don't know. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.